Okay, guys, let's get right into this. There are many things that are going to be happening with the Social Security Administration going forward under Commissioner Martin O'Malley into specifically June. We're in May right now, but we are going into June of 2024. Now, I want to go through some of the big ticket items, then I will address some of the other things that we should talk about related to this whole situation, and then kind of go from there. All right, the first thing I want to go over is something they just released. Let me this camera a little bit. Oop, oop, oh, so much better. Nope, not really. Doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. So bottom line, here are some of the things that they've basically changed going forward. They are now going to be doing this thing called Social Security Video Connect, or just Video Connect. It is a way that you can connect basically with a Social Security representative via video instead of just being over the phone. Please be careful with this, though, because they can record basically the video. They can retain the video and things like that, which would not be very helpful to your situation. And unfortunately, they could go ahead and use that as evidence against you. So just be aware, be careful with this. It could be good, it could be bad. Here's the thing, though. Here's what I don't understand as to why they're launching this. If the SSA only has 55 to 60,000 employees, and they realistically need around 90 to 95,000 to do a full proper job, to do that high level of customer service that they keep talking about. If they don't have enough employees to answer the phones, why are they adding a video connect option to it? I brought it with me right here. Let's go into it real quick. Social Security Video Connect. Connect with us from anywhere. We are always thinking of ways to make doing business with us easier with our Social Security Video Connect option. You can connect business with us using video on your personal device from your preferred location. Social Security Video Connect is available for no charge replacement Social Security cards, U.S. citizens only. Date of birth corrections, U.S. citizens only. Benefit applications, redeterminations, overpayments, and Medicare. How to get started. Let's go through it real quick. Here we go. To get started with this new service, please make sure you have a computer, tablet, or smartphone with a webcam and internet access. Then you can follow the steps below. Let me give them to you real quick. That way you have them. Then we're going to scooch over to the next thing. To schedule an appointment, contact your local Social Security office or call 1-800-772-1213, classic 800 number, between 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. If you're interested in a video appointment, the representative will determine whether video is an appropriate option for you. That's an interesting part there, right? They said, like, we'll figure out if video is a good fit for you, not for you to figure out if, interesting. If video is not an option, we conduct the interview over the phone or in the office. Number two, if you choose a video appointment, we will ask you to provide us with your email address and phone number. You will receive an email with a link for Microsoft Teams meetings. Please remember, Microsoft Teams is glitchy. It's not great. I don't like it. It's not an amazing thing. There are better options, but that's what they use. They use Microsoft Teams for the hearings too, at the administrative law judge hearing level with OHO, Office of Hearing Operations. I don't like Microsoft Teams, but that's what they use. Number three, on the date and time of your appointment, you will connect with us through the link provided. If you run into issues with Teams, because they do all the time, or need to reschedule your appointment, please contact your local Social Security office at the 800-772-1213 phone number. That's point number one. Let's get on to thing number two that will be happening going forward. In November of 2022, the fee cap was raised for disability attorneys to $7,200. Now, technically, attorneys that do disability law were massively underpaid for decades. They're supposed to be getting $10,000. And because they were getting so little, a lot of attorneys were basically retiring early and then going into something else. Or basically, just to put it frankly, a lot of disability attorneys were kind of just leaving the field and being like, I'm not doing this. I'm done. Let me find a whole new way of living. So they raised it via Commissioner Kijikazi in November of 2022. I remember making the video saying, this is amazing. They're finally acknowledging that they're massively underpaying us. But at the same time, it wasn't as much as I'd hoped it would be. But it was the right direction. Let me tell you, Commissioner Saul really, in the way that he was handling the SSA, who came before Commissioner Kijikazi, gave zero bleeps about how the attorneys were doing. In fact, if the attorneys were leaving the field, the logic there was that, then we're going to have fewer appeals and they're not going to be fighting us as much. So that's a good thing. So let's starve them out. In November of 2024, now the attorneys will be getting basically a boost to $9,200. Now, with that said, some people in the comments will be like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. They're finally getting what they're supposed to get around based on inflation and the math and yada, yada. Some of you will say, like, I don't want the attorneys to get anything. Let me just tell you this. You can feel whichever way you want about it. I can't change that. But the bottom line is, we are dangerously low on morale in the disability field. And the reason why is that a lot of the rule changes in 2017, which was Commissioner Saul, which was via Trump, were very aggressive at reducing the ability of Social Security attorneys to appeal claims. They took a lot of the appeal options off the map. So we as attorneys felt very like, well, this is just not a good field to be in anymore. We're not getting paid enough per claim. We're struggling to go ahead and get these things through because they don't want to approve them. And we're having these great write-ups. We're doing these briefs and they, still kick them to the curb. And it just wasn't a good feeling. And then they killed off a bunch of stuff that was pro-claimant or even neutral claimant for getting appeals going. BK Dan, thank you. Thank you for the $2 donation. We are Microsoft Resistance's field. Yeah, pretty much. So the bottom line is this, just so you guys understand the specifics of it, disability attorneys were leaving the field. They're getting out of it. And the field was pretty much being taken over by mega big box corporations, law firms that would have non-attorneys go ahead and take you to hearings, sometimes attorneys, but a lot of non-attorneys take you to hearings, and also insurance companies that were buying up law firms that do disability law, creating a subdivision that then was filled with non-attorneys that would just go ahead and process your claims. Because think about that. If they have an insurance company and like it's an LTD carrier or something like that, and that LTD company knows which ones need an attorney to go ahead and get an attorney while they're waiting to get disability benefits while receiving their long-term disability insurance. Well, you've created like an inside track for just constantly getting claimants. And at that point, they don't want to get an attorney involved because it has to be a separate law firm. So it's just a subdivision with no attorneys as non-legal reps under that insurance company, which probably sounds like it should be illegal, but it's not illegal. So anyway, point is, I just wanted to point out, some of you guys pick out really junky, crappy disability attorneys. Some of you pick out really great ones. The ones that pick out really crappy attorneys, you're like, I don't want them to get anything. The ones who pick out really great attorneys, you're like, I can't believe they only got that for all that work. So I wanted to go through really quickly and just help you guys know some of the questions you should ask a future disability attorney if you need one, right? And a lot of people assume that, well, I'm only going to need one to get benefits. That's not it. That's not the only, trust me, a third of the phone calls we get for business are not even that. So a third of the phone calls we get are basically about CDR reviews. And that's where they essentially come to review to see if you're still as severely impaired as you used to be. Some people will write in the chat section that they're like, of course I am. I have this, I have that. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. All that. And I get that. And that's fine. But there are a lot of people who didn't go to medical, didn't get, this done, didn't do this procedure, yada, yada, and then didn't get the things and types of evidence that would have helped them continue to receive their benefits. For example, if somebody did not do a surgery and that surgery was kind of like expected, as a result of the severity, and they didn't get a letter from another physician saying that there would be too much risk involved with it, then you're kind of setting yourself up for a situation where the SSA is going to be like, okay, well, why didn't you get that surgery? Right? And then they send you off to their doctor, and their doctor's a little biased, and that little bias goes ahead and says, well, he's more like moderate to severe, maybe. And then you're off. And then boom, you're going through a CDR. And let me tell you this, there's not enough disability attorneys in the field to financially cover the cost of doing these CDRs, because CDRs are just obnoxious. We don't get paid. We win them and we literally lose a lot of money. So very few disability attorneys do CDRs, if any, at this point. And kind of the bottom line is where I see it going is that as the herd, if you will, keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller through the field, you're going to have very few of these small and medium-sized law firms that do a lot of custom work. And you're just going to have big box firms and insurance companies. So if you want to call up and you need a disability attorney, here are some questions. I'm just going to give them to you so you can use them in the future going forward. Okay, are you a law firm or non-legal representative? Ask that one up front. It's important. If you are a law firm, do you use lesser non-legal representatives as hearing prep and attendance for the Social Security disability hearing, right? Are they going to send you in there with an attorney or like Steve, right? Steve. What approach do you take towards these impairments? Give them your top 5. If you don't know your top 5, you're not ready to call a disability attorney. Give them your top 5. Ask them, what is your approach to win benefits for these types of impairments? What are the walls that make my claim more difficult to win? What do you have to climb over to win a claim like this? Do you do multiple areas of law or just disability-based types of law? So like if they're doing combos of like VA law, LTD law and disability law, or the best is just disability law, right? Just that's all they focus on, right? That's their only thing. That would be like the magic with it. But most people can't make a true living just doing SSDI or SSI law, especially SSI. SSI is just, win those all day and still lose money. It's not a good deal. But, if they're like, well, we do personal injury, wills, trusts, and estates, and Social Security. And, we also do basically a lot of trial work in the civil rights arena and this and that. And then when they're doing all that stuff, that's not good because their focus is not specifically on the rights of the disabled. It's all over the place. It's too spread out. Okay. Another question for you. Will I be speaking with you throughout the process sometimes, or will it be entirely through receptionists? Now, here's the deal. You won't get the attorney on the phone usually when you call in. My firm, I sit there on every day other than Wednesday. And Wednesday I work with the homeless, and I take calls as I'm writing briefs, as I'm doing stuff, submitting motions, etc. So I take calls because I'm one of those weird individuals who has to be doing two things at once. Otherwise, I feel like I'm not accomplishing what I set out to do that day. So I'll take calls and then basically do the calls while I'm doing other stuff because that makes my brain feel better. Other attorneys don't do that. You have like a receptionist, or you have two levels of receptionists you have to get through, and you have to like swim your way up. So the bottom line is, if you can't swim your way up within 3 days, go find a different firm. Okay. But bottom line is too, if you're just going to be communicating with the receptionist the entire time throughout the process, that's not a good sign either. Final question. There's a lot more you could ask, but I'm just going to give you this final question. Do you do higher district or circuit appeals, or do you have a system with a sister law? Most disability law firms do initial filing into appeals counsel or initial filing through appeals counsel. And then basically some of them do initial filing all the way up through district, circuit, and supreme. The problem is, if it's a law firm that does specifically disability law, it's either going to be usually initial filing through, up to appeals counsel or including appeals counsel, and then a different firm will take over that only specializes in basically federal district and up. And the reason why this is that when you have a successful attorney, they don't have time to do the brief writing area, which is the higher district, circuit, and Supreme Court stuff, and also down here, the initial filing stuff. To get your claim, try to get through it, initial filing, reconsideration, ALJ, or appeals counsel. You got to pick one. You can only pick one of these tracks because successful attorneys can't do both. They don't have enough time to prep people for the hearing, get them rolling, or do the briefs and submit for the higher, basically federal appellate judges. Okay. Next thing, here's number 3. Here are some questions that will get you nowhere when it comes to speaking with disability attorneys if you need one. Okay. Number 1. What is your percent passage rate? I've been asked that a billion times, and I explain to the person every single time why that is a totally useless question. First off, each claim is unique. And because you all have different top five impairments. They're all different, right? The medical severity of them, all different. They're all a unique claim. It's all custom work. Each claim is unique, and each adjudication at the SSA is unique. And each level at the SSA has a different adjudicator, right? So you got DDS1, DDS2, ALJs, AAJs. You could get a high percent passage rate at one. You can get a really low percent passage rate through the entire thing. And then would screw it up and get a bunch of denials, right? So just make up a number, whatever number you want. Because if your claim is crap, you're on the below average end. If your claim is good, you're on the higher side, the higher average approval end. Remember, there are more hungry disability attorneys out there and less hungry disability attorneys out there. There are older ones who just take feeder claims from insurance companies who tend to be very relaxed with their approach to calling people back, which is kind of my polite way of saying they just don't really call people back. And then there are those who are just starting out and want to really get those claims. So they'll take the obnoxious, really difficult ones where they're just like, they don't make sense and they're highly, highly, highly unlikely to be approved. My thing is this: we have to keep limiting what types of claims we'll actually take, and limiting it, because we can't, we get way too many calls. So as this firm, Disability Resolution, we can only take claimants in this particular area. And then for the other ones, I tell them, go try and find another attorney. If you can't find another attorney, call me back. I'll take another look at it. But if I can't help you with it, then we'll do the live thing or we'll do the hour thing, and I'll walk you through what to do. And just so you guys know, that's how I do it. That's how I give them a road to some form of success. Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I go live. I answer questions for free, right? There's also in the bio link a mini contract where you can buy an hour of my time. Tell me what's going on, and I'll tell you what you should be doing. Now, the big box firms massively advertise. I mean, their massive advertising budget is absolutely huge. And they do reject a bunch of claims because they're only going to take claims that are easy money claims. But in my experience, they are kind of like McDonald's. The burger goes here, the ketchup then goes here, the mustard goes here, the pickles go here, next. And if you don't fit into that, we're going to do this, and this. And if you have something unique there, if you have something that you have to do in addition to that, some form of custom work, it's not going to happen. They're not set up for custom work. They're not set up. It's just purely just process, push through. So, it's not a pro-claimant method, but remember, those big box firms, they're not in law, and they advertise that we are here as your family and snuggle you through the process and blah, 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 and all that jazzy junk. But the reality is they are there to profit. Somehow they pay for a giant building downtown. That's how they do it, right? They're there for maximizing profit. Now, another terrible question, and I'm going to get off these questions soon. These will help you in the future if you do need a disability attorney. Calling and asking, do you think I have a good claim? I can tell you with most firms, they will say, absolutely yes. Of course, because this makes you choose them because they believe, even though they're not like, oh, I believe with my heart, because it makes you feel like they believe in your medical conditions. I use a different approach, which is not smart for marketing, and it is not smart for getting clients, but it's what I've been using, and it is what it is, which is it's just not great for sales. I tell them I don't know their medical record, and this is what is good and bad about what they've told me. However, disclaimer, people usually say that they are far more worse than they actually are. So when I see the medical record, it's not a shocker to me when I see that, like, okay, they were a little bit of a BSer, right? A little bit of a schnooker here, schnooker there, right? And, at the end of the day, I tell them, look, when I look at this and I see this, I'm not going to be shocked if it comes out that you're not as severe as you tell me you are. Again, not a great method for sales, but it works for me. It's what I've been doing. And it kind of starts to prep their brain for the reality that they may not be the injured baby seal that's laying on the beach and everybody's running up to help. Like that's one of the things you have to keep in mind. Like some people will be like, I'm so bad. I can't breathe. Oh my God. And they go through the thing. But, let me tell you a secret. Okay. People who are really disabled and limited, they talk about what they have lost and the medical treatment they are receiving. The BS artists, they just, they're looking for a check and they whine and cry, but can't even explain what their conditions are. Then there's the third category, of course, which are the homeless, and they became homeless because of their impairments, so that's a totally separate group of individuals. All right. Now, a third and final terrible question would be, how quickly will I be found disabled? It all depends on if you're approved at the initial filing, reconsideration, disability hearing, appeals council, district court, circuit court, Supreme Court. It all depends on where you're approved. So like, how quickly will I be found disabled? It's a terrible question. It's a terrible, because it has no simple answer. Don't ask that question. Ask how long the initial filing level wait time is, the recon wait time, the ALJ hearing wait time. Those are the decision points on the timeline. That's when you could potentially be found disabled. Now, there are a lot more questions that I could go over. I'm going to skip them because we have to kind of make this video faster. I was shooting for 15 minutes. We're already past that. Number 4, additionally, the cost of living adjustment months will be around the corner. Okay. So if you see a big slowdown, right, in how much inflation we're experiencing in July, August, and September, right, which are the 3 months that they use to calculate inflation. Okay. Then the government does not need to pay you as much during the 2025 year. Okay. Some of you guys don't realize this, but there's 3 months that matter. Okay. July, August, September. July, August, September. Those are the months that matter. That's what they base their cost of living adjustment math on. So all the COLA videos, cost of living adjustment videos coming out before October are all just BSing you. They're just all BSing you. Okay. Because the current months don't matter. Right? January doesn't matter. February doesn't matter. Okay. May doesn't matter. March, nope. April, nope. Doesn't matter. December, yeah. November doesn't matter either. Okay. October, they tell you, but bottom line is July, August, September. That's when we see the actual numbers that will be through an averaging algorithm given the cost of living adjustment. So if for example, the inflation is rampant, horrible in, for example, May, it's not going to matter because it could still potentially go way down in July, August, and September, which means you get not much more money in 2025 as part of your cost of living adjustment. Now, your Social Security disability hearing question for the month of June is, if you are not able to drive a car, but you do use a bicycle, who repairs the bicycle when you have a breakdown? That is your June monthly Social Security question. I want to do a thing where I do shorts, where I give you like a question for the week, basically maybe a day, maybe a question for the day, like a hearing question for the day. I don't know if I'll be able to shoot that many videos, but it's an idea that I have that I want to, if you guys are interested in that, let me know in the comments. Either I'll pick that up or the moderator will catch it and we'll go from there. Finally, and here's the big announcement, okay? Expect some really massive, I'm talking astronomical, big news from the commissioner of the SSA as to the future direction of the Social Security Administration. When it comes to Social Security benefit increases, we are in the final 6 months before the 2024 election process begins to ramp up and then immediately wind down. And so my point is, many of the laws that I've told you about, many of the rule changes that I've explained to you, were put in place for comment, like people would talk about them online, specifically, okay, under Commissioner Kijakazi. So the prior commissioner started these rule changes, right? Most of them. We were all commenting on them. And then, boop, now Commissioner Martin O'Malley comes in and he releases these changes. He says, okay, I'm putting this in the rule book. I'm doing this as a ruling. I'm doing this as a thing. I'm making this rule happen. These were all mostly the prior commissioner's work. For this reason, expect Commissioner Martin O'Malley to have his big changes over the next couple of months up his sleeve. Why? He is and was a Democrat prior presidential hopeful. Like, he ran against people like Biden and Hillary and Donald Trump and things like that. He ran against them for president of the United States. So with that said, just so you get a full understanding, his shoulder was tapped specifically by President Biden to lead the Social Security Administration. So just understand, if you're wondering like how political is the SSA now, it is hyper, ultra political, because he was put in place to replace Commissioner Kijakazi. Commissioner Kijakazi was a lifetime Social Security / nonprofit, employee, right? She was always working with the government for the most part, or nonprofits that were interacting with the government. Cool. But, and this is important, she was not of political prowess that they needed going into this upcoming election. So expect that in, June, July, August, September, October, exciting, massive, almost like just wow, just starstruck information about Social Security benefit increases, Social Security benefit changes. Expect those in the future. This news is likely to help with the re-election of President Biden. That's why he chose, in my opinion, although it's pretty obvious, and I think everybody would agree, that President Biden chose Commissioner Martin O'Malley as a result of them having a similar platform when they both were running for president. So with that said, I've gone through essentially all of the things that I think are the big ticket items going into June that you need to know. With that said, there's zillions more. We're going to be doing future rule changes, future rules that have a lot of communication and comments on them inside the Social Security comment section website, where they actually talk about which rules they're looking at changing, what people are saying about it, all that stuff. With that said, the next video that I'm going to be doing directly after this one is how the SSA is basically bankrupting Social Security disability insurance recipients. So we're going to be going through the general bullet points of what's happening. I will be back in about 15 minutes to go through that. Please remember to like and please remember to subscribe. Head over to Google if you can to go ahead and leave some reviews on Google. We always appreciate that. I love waking up to those. With that said, please remember Tuesdays and Thursdays I go live at night to basically answer questions. There's a little mini contract in the thing below where basically I go through and you can buy an hour of time. Other than that, I will catch you all a little bit later. You have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we will go from there. Thank you so much, everybody. All right, I'll see you in 15 minutes. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.